so I just received a new package from CubeWorks. Huge thanks to them for making this video possible. So the cubes I got are the TE MS4 and MS5, which will probably share one video. Then the MGC6, which will have its video on its own, and the Little Magic 6, which will be the focus of this video. The other two cubes here are just my Aoshi GTS, which is my main, so I'll compare it with any new 6x6 that I got anyway, and my modded Yuxin Red, because this one is relevant to the Little Magic. I have actually reviewed the non-magnetic version of the Little Magic on my channel like quite a long time ago, and I gave it a positive review back then because there was no better option. Like the Classroom MF6 was the next best budget cube in line, and it was already outdated. Afterwards, the YJ Yushi V2M came out like a few years later, and it was much better than the original Little Magic. So the non-magnetic Little Magic was very slow and very flexible in comparison, and like the turning wasn't smooth, or the Yushi was just better in every way, much faster, much smoother, and also a lot more stable. But then like the magnetic Little Magic came, and out of the box, it was actually kind of trash. The cube was really slow, and the force needed to turn the layers, especially the second layer, overpowered the magnet until I could hardly feel the magnet. And then like the cube could also hardly corner cut anything at all, which was actually a contrast to the non-magnetic version, because if you watch that video, the non-magnetic Little Magic could actually corner cut a lot. So what I did next to the magnetic Little Magic is the magical part. So I loosened the tensions by about 270 degrees smoother than the stock tensions. This is the most important part of the setup. Then after that, I looped along the cube's mechanisms like dividing lines. So after looping the cube, I proceeded to go and do some solves, and the first two solves were uneventful, but the third solve was 214, which was unusually good for my standards. And then as I proceeded to solve on that cube, I started to actually like the cube. So the texture got quite a lot smoother, not as crunchy as it was out of the box, although you can still feel the crunch. And the corner cutting is also a lot better. And so 2 pieces forward and 1 piece backward. That's basically how much you can cut right now, which is comparable to the non-magnetic. The speed of the cube has also increased. So now the Little Magic is a lot faster than it was out of the box, and the turning force no longer overpowers the magnets. I can actually feel a bit of snap, and I feel that the magnet strength is actually quite good for it's quite good for the speed of this cube. The cube is still definitely a lot slower than my Aoshi or the new MGC6 that I received, but it's definitely manageable and usable. And in fact, if I compare the speed of the Little Magic right now to the Yuxin Red, which is the original 65mm 6x6, like the Little Magic is actually faster than the Red. My Red actually has the 5x5 spring swap. It's fully set up, modded and broken in, and it's like the Little Magic is actually faster than that. Another feature about the Little Magic is that it's very flexible, so I feel like I'm squishing the cube with every turn that I made. But although it looks negative at first, I'll talk about how this became possible. It's a very forgiving cube, so like compared with the original Yuxin Red, this cube has like 9 holes because I modded it obviously, and it's supposed to increase the reverse corner cutting. Here, this one I don't think I even need to mod. Like the corner cutting is just really generous. And even though I find that this cube really flexes, like when I'm turning, it seldom ever flexes out of control. Like even though it flexes, I can actually feel that really tight spring force in this cube holding the whole thing together. As for deforming lockups, I can make one happen on purpose, but I've yet to get one in a real soft. For the shades, I really like these shades, especially the dark red and the dark blue. I feel like most other brands, especially I think the Little Magic 5 color scheme, use very bright shades. But I do think that like more cubes should feature the dark red and the dark blue. And I do feel that the color scheme on the Little Magic 6 does have some influence on my look ahead. So the unusual thing about the Little Magic 6 is that I don't spam TPS as hard as I would on my Aoshi or the MGC, but my timings are actually around, like I average about 226 with the Little Magic, which is actually much faster than what I initially expected when I took this cube out of the box. And the timings actually do compete with the Aoshi and the Yushi, and totally blows the shadow out of the question. And for the MGC, this one will be a topic for another video because this cube is on a totally different level. But the final amazing thing that happened when I was using the Little Magic 6 was that I got a PB single of 155. So it's my second ever sub 2 single. The first being 159 on my Aoshi, and I will actually count that 155 single quite lucky because the last 4 ages is just 2 cycles. But one phenomenon I did observe with the Little Magic is that my source generally felt much more efficient and much more fluid. It could be a combination of like the nice shapes and the fact that I'm forced to turn a bit slower, so I'm forced to look ahead a little bit more, although that this is just all theory. But like I do constantly feel that I'm doing fewer moves per second. I find that I'm also doing fewer moves in total, which helps to add up to a comparable time, which is the 226 that I just mentioned. Is it really the best budget cube? This one really depends. If you want a fast cube, something more mainstream, but you don't have the money to get the MGC or maybe the Aoshi, then I would recommend the Yushi B2M. But if you're a fan of the more like tighter, slower turning style, then I would recommend the Little Magic. So the Little Magic is a very unique cube. Like my favorite feel is definitely still the very fast and smooth, stable feel of the Aoshi and MGC, but the crunchier, slower feel of the Little Magic is just a totally different formula that still yields results that are very nice to try this out for variety's sake, because like especially if you can get bored from solving on the same feel all the time, I think the Little Magic is something you can get and spice things up. It's a totally different feel that is really interesting to try out.